So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Quantum Conscious News Update for the month of April and May. Alright? How you guys doing out there? I hope you guys are doing good. Hope everything is well. I hope everybody's taking care of themselves and you're actually feeling good every day. So that's what life's about, is feeling good and doing the things that you want to do and being who you are. So I'm just sending you guys and gals out there a lot of love and respect and wisdom and knowledge and peace and more love. All right. So today what I want to talk about is kind of like the current events that have been going on in the world and what has actually been happening and the things that have been taking place and how it involves us, the entire world, the collective, all as one. This is like a unity type series that I'm doing here. The more people can see what's going on for themselves, the more individuals can be more grounded and they can think for themselves and they can find out and deduct and connect the dots and actually bring together their own picture of the world to create their own cohesive mind space and unify their own pattern of thought. That's my goal for this series. That's why I like to talk about news. That's why I feel like it's the best thing for people to stay aware of and to look at and to be updated on. So what I want to talk about in this update is more things that have happened globally. It's been like, I don't know, a month and a half since I made another update. So many things have happened and I kind of just, I don't make updates until I feel like I have to. You know, it's like things that happen, they happen. I'm just like, oh yeah, well, you know, everybody knows this stuff is going to happen if you've been paying attention for like years and years and years. Yeah, for most people, they're kind of just like, you know, like, oh my gosh, this happened? Like, oh, well, I don't care. I wonder what's going to happen next. So it's kind of like you either know this stuff is going to happen, or you're kind of just like, oh wow, this happened. Oh well, I guess that's what's happening now. You really want to be in like the middle path here. You want to know what's happening, and then you want to understand that this is all in alignment. This is all what's going on. This is all what's supposed to be happening for the highest and best outcome for humanity. Okay, that's what's important. That's what's most powerful. That's the most powerful place to be. It's in your own knowledge of the world, how it's playing out, the world's timeline, and how we're all on it. You know, we're all on this thing together. We're all walking on this own collective pathway as one people. You know, that's what it is. There's one human race. You know, there's one human race. And we're all here. We're all in. So let's get started. Okay, so one of the things that's been happening was like my favorite thing ever, which caused me like why I got in front of the camera today. It's the COVID trials. The COVID trials are coming. Like literally, like if you were paying attention in 2020, if you were around in 2020 and you knew like the government was not the world government, it was an outside government that took over the world and kept resetting the world to keep everybody in pain, misery, and fear. And they're hiding actual free, unlimited technology to help humanity prosper, and they're hiding medical solutions to keep humanity sick so they can feed off their sickness. If you've known that when 2020 hit, it shouldn't have been a surprise to you that these things were happening, and then everybody was believing it. And when 2020 hit, you should have known that it was all a crime. The entire thing, the entire COVID thing was a made-up lie. the vaccines are not safe and effective. COVID was bioengineered by Bill Gates and Melinda Gates and released out of a lab. Dr. Fauci was on the payroll for generating and producing COVID as he was AIDS. So if you know these things, it's not a surprise. Yeah, the biggest thing that's happened, which is what I want to start off with today, is COVID.gov. All right? If you go to COVID.gov and you start reading, what you see is literally, I'm going to screen capture it and show you guys. Like, this is like the most phenomenal thing I've ever seen. If you go to COVID.gov, you'll see it's a White House website. And then you'll see a picture of Donald Trump. And then you'll see literally a depiction of what COVID is, how it was created, where it was released, who was responsible, what intentions they had, and why. And you'll see all this stuff just depicted and just flowing down into like this glorious webpage with like stats and data and a map of Wuhan and where it was released, and a picture of Dr. Fauci and his pardon of that criminal, Joe Biden, the fake president, of how he pardoned this guy. He said, Dr. Fauci's pardoned for any crimes against people that was committed while he was in service. It just reads like a movie. It just goes down and reads like beautifully. Like this is like the beginning of the end. This is why I show up and tell you guys to look at this stuff and pay attention, because it's actually happening. And this is exactly why we have the administration in place, because this stuff is supposed to happen. People are going to be responsible and be held accountable for COVID. So if you had any friends or family members that unknowingly and unwillingly took these vaccines, there's going to be repercussions in place. You know, I've been out like around my town, I've been talking to people. One person told me he took the vaccine and a week later he got shingles like on the side of his face. And I'm just like, yeah, people need to be held accountable for this stuff, because a lot of people died. You know, people who I knew, you know, and who I still know, people in my family who've taken the shot, and you see them and they're not looking as well as they used to. Just they seem to have aged like 20 years and like 5. So it's like it's not okay that this happened. Bill Gates actually tried to depopulate humanity, and it wasn't good. So what the current administration has done is set up a website to let people know that they're actually taking these steps to take these people out and return prosperity and sovereignty and freedom into the hands of the people, into the hands of humanity. That's something that the fake president, pedophile, Satanist Joe Biden could not do last term. So I mean, that's just what it is. So I wanted to let you guys know that that's happening. Okay, so where we're actually headed is a quantum financial system, to where all the currency is gold backed by the military alliance, backed by angelic entities and actual angels and source energy, to where it isn't like a curse on the money anymore. Have you ever seen a dollar and you look at the dollar and you kind of just feel like this type of weird, like gritty, like dark, sludgy green ooze coming off of it? That's not normal. It's not normal for a piece of paper to feel that way, and it is that way because there's a curse put on it. The actual currency system is actually a dark extraterrestrial technology, to where it hooks and it clutches and it grabs and it tries to attach to by their heart. And when you have that type of energy trying to manipulate you, when you're just trying to live your life and have your own resources for yourself, so you can be in a first world type of situation and not a third world type of situation, your conflict of interest gets blurred, and your accumulation of money starts to become more important, more than the things that are actually the most important in life. So that's what happens to people who get obsessed with money, and they get rich and they don't think about what's important anymore, and they always think that more money is best. Now don't get me wrong, having money is good because you need it, yet accumulating billions and billions and billions of it and then doing nothing for people, or just using that for sick, twisted, pedophile purposes is not the thing to do. You know, it's just not. So where we're going with this is a quantum financial system, to where everything is backed, everything is counted, everything is made accountable for. There's no leaks in the system, which is why Dodge is so important. That's the beginning of it, because it's all going to be more or less like a real-time system, to where you know where everything is, what is happening, what the government's doing, what your current town hall is doing, what your bank is doing, you know, what your credit is doing. It's not going to be this mysterious thing where you have to abide by these rules and, oh, please, bank masters, please don't bring the hammer down on me because I want to buy a house. You know, it's just like, you know, it's actually going to be fair, and it's going to be peaceful, and it's going to be prosperous, to where people can actually have resources, and you don't have to lay out for it and work till your back breaks for, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a good thing. That's where we're headed. The gold is going to be remanaged. There's coffers of gold that have been put in place by ascended masters to be released to humanity for when they're ready, for when the deep state is gone, and for when the job is done. So a financial system that's backed by natural resources can actually have integrity and not be stolen and manipulated and used for negativity. These things are actually coming into place. So when you hear about checks being like released by Dodge, that's a huge thing. That's actually a real thing. That's actually something that's going to happen, and that's the beginning of funds being released. It's based off of this 30-year prophecy that's been intuitively channeled and brought through by vessels like me, vessels like any light being who has a YouTube channel, any channeler, any type of light worker, any type of spiritual being who is in contact with their higher self. Your higher self will tell you funds are being released, mass surrenders are going to happen, humanity is going to be free. It's going to happen. It has to happen, because this is the beginning of the golden age. That's what happens. That's just what happens. You know, there's going to be no more places for this darkness that's been feeding off humanity to hide, because there's going to be no more dark places. Like the earth is actually going to light up from the inside out, because the earth is a sun. So please believe that. And this stuff is actually, like, it's happening. Guys, wake up. All right. So it's very exciting too, because I feel like it's a very unique and amazing time to be alive, and to see these things like take place firsthand. You know, it's like you're seeing these things like this stuff will never happen again. And I could say that I was alive during this time. It's phenomenal. More news. So there's been a lot of mass arrests that's also been going on the past 4 years, which I always like to let you know. Since that insurrection happened on January 6th, which was basically just the Democrats trying to stop Trump from getting martial law to throw all of them out of the government, from destroying the world, destroying humanity, and destroying America, and bankrupting small business economies, which they tried to do during COVID, which they almost succeeded in doing, and killing, mass genociding humanity and Americans. When that happened, when the Insurrection Act happened, they threw a coup and said that Donald Trump was actually trying to take over the Capitol building, which was a huge show, which is a huge lie. When Pelosi was found actually admitting that she actually set it up on video, you know, all that stuff. When that happened, Trump had signed the Insurrection Act of, I think it was of 1876 or something like that, that gives him absolute power to have martial law, to do anything he needs to do to uproot and remove all traitors, all outside influences, all outside parties, and all alien individuals who have tried to assume power in the government of the United States. So that's huge, because when that happened 4 years ago, and Donald Trump allegedly stopped being president, he didn't stop being president. He's been arresting people nonstop with the Marines. Like the Marines have been going like hand. Like they've been going very hard, like literally on the ground doing the footwork, raiding like sick pedophile dungeons and taking out like elites like the Rothschild people who are just fringe and like all types of FEMA people and gang members and ex-military people and current military people and fringe celebrities and famous celebrities. There's a lot of people who have actually been taken and never seen again because it's just, they're not going to publicize this stuff because the public cannot consume it. So currently, one of the most biggest arrests was Mike Pence. If you remember Mike Pence, the vice president, the vice president that Trump was basically forced to run with on his first term. If you remember what happened at the end of his last term, Mike Pence flipped on Trump when Trump was trying to pass the recount for the votes that were completely fabricated to put Joe Biden in office. Mike Pence said, no, you don't get a recount. We're Satanists. We lie and we cheat and we manipulate people into thinking that we actually won fairly. So, no, you're not going to get the recount. I was never actually in integrity or honorable or actually a real vice president. So you don't get the recount. I never actually served you. So that's what Mike Pence did to Donald Trump at the end of his first term. So the past 4 years, the Marines have been, ever since Donald Trump was out of office, the Marines have been after Mike Pence. And there's things that have been taking place. They've detained him, they've caught him, they've interrogated him. And then Mike Pence, being the person that he was, would plead for his life. And Donald Trump, being the compassionate person he actually is, will let him go because they were like, I don't know, they were like sort of like friends. So he would let him go. And when he would let him go, you'd see him back on CNN saying all the stuff about Donald Trump and clearly being back in the clutches of the deep state. So that happened once or twice. Recently they caught him again. They caught him again in like January. And they recently put him on trial in Guantanamo, had the military tribunal find him counts of guilty for many things, and they hung him. So he's dead. So like things like that. That guy's dead. Top administration from FEMA, they are actually been on trial and they've been found guilty and also put to death, unfortunately. These things that happen, it's not like cool, it's not like funny, it's not like yeah, they're dead now. It's really not. It's kind of just like a sad thing that has to come this way. So when they get put on trial, it's just like, it's come to that because they have like no remorse for what they've done. They just want people to die. They're so sick, they just don't understand how off and how far they've fallen and how much pain and misery and deceit they've allowed into their systems and how twisted their perception has come. And it's just like they're so distorted that they'll never see like positivity of what the world could actually be because they've devoted their life to something that isn't even human. That's like not even like empathic. Like there's no sentience there. It's just like a sick thing that it's like they worship something that's not even real. So a lot of these things have been happening in Washington, and it's been happening at the heat of the Insurrection Act that was initiated back on January 6th, 2021. So it's just like, it's very real, and these things are very clearly taking place. You'll see this stuff happen like in plain view, clear as day, right in the news. So like when you see things happen like that, just realize that things are actively playing themselves out now. The Alliance, the positive military, who are backed by enlightened extraterrestrials, angelic ETs, and angels, and source energy is actually on the ground taking down this Satanist fake government structure, and it gets messy at times. Like, things happen, and people, you know, people die. Yet they're not going to show you that in the news. You have to go and find this stuff for yourself. So when you see things like, oh, this plane crashed again, you know, this plane is going down again, stuff like that, it's like the deep state clearly has something, there's some type of involvement in planes crashing every week. They're constantly trying to create this narrative of planes going down. So when a plane goes down, they want people to be like, oh yeah, well, planes go down all the time. You know, so it's like, you know, you have to look out for this stuff and understand. Another thing that's been happening is Kash Patel, the new head of the FBI, has actually caught and detained over 200 child predators, which is huge, which is something that the past FBI would never do because they were child predators. It's just like, I don't know, this stuff fires me up because I feel like nobody understands how terrible the last government was. It was just so atrocious, and it was like actually like despicable. It was like literally the bane of humanity. They wanted to, they were constantly funneling people in from the border, taking kids from their families, and then sending them to like sex dungeons in Ukraine and stuff like that. It's like terrible. It's like if you don't know this stuff is happening, then it's just like, I don't know what to say. This is like a huge time to be aware of world events as they take place, because we have no choice. We have no choice except to look at this stuff. It's just like, it's changing, and although we're all living our lives, going about our day-to-days, you know, working our jobs and feeding our families, like, we have to honestly be aware of things, because if we're not aware of how bad it can get and on the fringe of society, how things are actually developing and at the upper ranks of the government, and how events are clashing with the different factions and how they're actually working things out and taking things over and pushing one another out the way for the positivity and development and freedom of humanity, then we have to pay attention more. Then we have to actually look at things more, and we actually have to develop ourselves to stay aware, because that's what's important, is looking at things and not just being like, oh, well, I wonder what's going to happen next, and what was going to happen next, what was going to happen next. And then another COVID happened, and you're like, oh my gosh, COVID. And then you get caught up in it, and then you're taking vaccines. It's like, you have to wake up and see this stuff for yourself. So another thing I wanted to cover is Donald Trump flipping on Israel. All right, it's you know, it's been a long time coming, you know, because when Trump got into office, unfortunately, he was, you know, he seemingly was like buddy friends, best friends forever with Israel for some reason. It's just like, if you know who Israel is, if you know who Netanyahu is, the guy's he's not a positive figure. He's a genocidal maniac. He starts wars for fun and tries to eradicate entire populations of people for no reason. So for some reason, you know, Trump was like friendly with him, yet as of this week, Trump finally he finally saw that Netanyahu was trying to manipulate him the entire time. Netanyahu was trying to get him to give funds to Israel so Israel can continue to fund Hamas and eradicate more people in Palestine and Yemen, which he continued to do. And it's like, you know, after Trump gave him those billions of dollars for weapons, and Netanyahu went over to Yemen and started to bomb the Houthis there. The Houthis are the people who are in Yemen who represent Palestine, who are the only ones who are actually standing up for Palestine. When Netanyahu went and did that, and he continued to do that, Netanyahu had the Houthis fighting the United States and blowing up ships off aircraft carriers of the United States. Trump finally saw that it's not worth it. It's not worth fighting these people who have weapons to destroy aircrafts just so he can continue giving Netanyahu more money to fund eradication of an entire civilization. So it just wasn't. It's just not worth it for Trump to do that, because Trump's actually all about world peace. So upon finding that out, Trump continued to shut Netanyahu out this week. Currently, he's shutting Netanyahu out. He's not taking any phone calls. He's cut off all contact with Netanyahu, which is a huge win for the alliance, for positivity, for world peace. So I hope he finds out that Netanyahu's been funding Hamas, because everybody knows that. It seems he knows that now. So if he's cut off all contact, that's a positive thing. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's looking good. It's a big win for America. It's a big win for the world. It's enlightening for me. This is entertainment for me, but at the same time, it's very exciting and very fulfilling to bring you guys my take on things and the facts on things, because they're actually happening and they're actually important and they involve everybody here. I feel like the entire thing with the trade war, tariffs being imposed on other countries, especially China, is going to come out positive for everybody. Everybody's going to get a fair deal, and then things are going to look better, because we're going into another place. We're going to a world where things are going to be held accountable for, and then actually looked at, and responsibility is going to be taken by every individual involved. And we're going to see what everybody's doing. We're going to see how things are shifting and moving towards a positive place, into the golden age for humanity. Not just the golden age that Trump says, the actual ascension age. And it's just happens to be a coincidence that this guy says it, but we're actually moving into the golden age of humanity, to where it's 5D. All right, so that's where we're going. That's where we're going, and it starts by having a fair pie, having a fair share in entire pool of resources, so we can all live and not be held in slavery like we are now, with this Satanist dollar with the fake pyramid on top of it. We're done with that. We're done. It's over. These Satanists are going to be swept off the planet, or they're going to be forced to leave, or they're going to be held accountable in the court of law and then hung. And then we're going to get our freedom. That's where it's going. That's what's happening. Things are taking place. Nothing can stop it, because things have been happening non-stop, and they're going to continue to happen by the force of God, by the force of Source, by the force of humanity, who are gods and goddesses. We are here. We're positively shifting the planet. Things are taking place. Things are happening. Ascension is here. All right? So peace and love. If you guys would like a session, I do sessions at quantumlight.org. I do coaching, intuitive readings, custom art. I have orgonite that I'm making, custom animal totems. Check those out. Have lions, horses, wolves, dragons, much more coming soon. Also have pyramids and a few more on the way. Check those out. Empathgear.com. Also on Etsy. Also lots of t-shirts and hoodies available. Custom Empath gear. Wear those. Say how you feel on the outside of how you feel on the inside. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love.